Next talk is by Dr. Sudha, highlighting the researcher in you. Over to Sudha.
Thank you, Dr. Mallika, for giving me this opportunity. Actually, this is one of the topics which most PGs decide, okay, I'm not going to do research. So why should I do research? I'm not going to be a researcher. Well, the reason why we think research is not for us is the fact that we think research is actually researching for answers. And that is not true. As a teacher, I can teach you to think. I can teach you to see. I can teach you to read up things. But what I really want to do is to apply these things onto your patients, plus question me. Can you question me whether am I asking you something wrong? If that you can do, then I have done my duty. If you reached a level where you can say, madam, you are wrong, and I can prove it to you, that is the time when a student gets to the top level. So this is what is research. It is not about seeking answers. It is about questioning what has been taught to you. So what is research? Research is seeing what everybody else has seen, but thinking something entirely different. So it is constant questioning. The basic point is that you have to question what you have been taught. It's not just 1, 2, 3 like that. So if you know what is being taught, then if you know the result and you expect that's the result, then that's not research. So you really need to ask the question, you need to have the skill, and you need to look into it, you need to have hard work. So your important thing is that what I have taught to you as a teacher may be wrong. Your belief may be wrong. So train ourselves to look beyond those. Train ourselves to think of a higher goal and withstand the challenges to look it up. So what we should understand that all of us are taught curriculums, but it's not curriculum. We should be taught to recognize patterns, which is very important, to look at something and recognize that there is something different. There is a pattern, and that is what is researching. So what is the problem in research in medicine? It's a complex subject. You have a lot of teamwork needed, but teamwork is not always feasible, and the medicine itself has high stakes. You are dealing with life and death, and lot of time and money constraints. So what is the difference? So reader, he gains some information by reading an article and he uses it. The critical reader, he looks at the information and decides how is it being taken. Has it been taken in the proper way? Has it been done in the proper way? That is a critical reader, but he is still reading only. He is only gaining the information. The novice researcher will actually look at those processes and start investigating. Is this correct or not? So from research consumer, you have to start becoming a research contributor. That is, I want answers is not the method you have to do. I have a question is what you should ask. So you are basically developing a growth mindset. That is, nothing is a failure. Everything that you fail in is actually another opportunity for you to learn. So keep your new ideas open, be flexible, and look at all things from all sides. And develop a learning goal. Not that I must do this skill, I must learn this. This is not a performance. You have to learn through that performance. You have to improve rather than prove. You have to think, why did it happen? How did it happen? And how it can be solved. That is the attitude you want. So basically, it is a change in attitude, and you have to cooperate rather than compete, and persevere and have a passion for long-term ideas. So the key skills that you need is observation. Of course, you need to have a good observation skill. You need to ask the right questions, so you need to know you need to know the subject well. You should, as Dr. Gopal has already said, have a good emotional reach with the patient. But you should also be able to look into patterns, to organize this data into patterns and analyze it. And we all know what is the scientific method, that we think of a question, we test it by using a hypothesis. So we have to frame a hypothesis, we ask the questions, we take the data which can answer those hypotheses, and then we finally analyze it. So how do you start this research? Look at something which is interesting to you. Now, when you look at something, you have to read about it. So you have to read the existing literature and identify that literature, part of literature, which is actually correlating with your interest. So that is, you're not looking for an answer, you are actually looking for a problem. So you define the problem. The problem, for instance, there's so much is not there. I mean, there is very little information about this particular topic. That is the problem which you have seen. So how are you going to solve it? That is your research question. How, why, what, who, and what are the limits with which you are going to study. So when you find a problem, you look at it based on this. So finally, before I end, its research is not difficult. It is the attitude which is difficult to change ourselves. Learn to be curious. Learn to challenge yourself. Start exploring. Be persistent. Evaluate your sources. Just because the teacher tells you that is not the correct thing, get evidence. Stay organized and develop new ideas and become creative. Thank you so much. Now this is what I wanted to see. Everybody looks at this pattern and looks at the beauty, but only a researcher finds the mathematical equation in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sudha, for the nice talk and motivating the researcher in everyone. Thank you.